we even start, press that subscribe button. Trust me, you'll want to stick around. This is Who Said What, where my sister Nira and I dive into life, culture, and the things that people think but don't say out loud. She overshares, I think before I speak, most of the time. We've lived all over. Egypt, the US, Dubai, Europe, so we've seen the best and worst of everything. Relationships, careers, family chaos, and unspoken rules that make absolutely no sense. No fluff here, no filters, just real talk, occasional wisdom, and a lot of, did we really just say that moments? Now let's get into it. Hi everyone, we're back with another episode of Who Said What. We have, so I'm Hiba.
And I'm Nira.
And we have a very inspiring guest today, Ingy Ismail. She is a PR consultant and the founder of Flair PR. So we have her here today and we are very excited to have her with us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So we wanted to know, you've worked in PR for several years.
Yes. 18 to be precise.
Yes, but you didn't start here, right?
I didn't start here, no.
Okay, where did you start? You were in Italy. Give us some background because I'm confused. Are you Italian, Egyptian? Did you live in Italy? Let us know.
Okay, I'll tell you. So Anna, I'm Egyptian-Italian. My mother is Italian. My father is Egyptian. I was born here in Egypt. And then we moved to Saudi for 4 years when I was younger. We came back to Egypt. And I went to school here. I did my high school here. And I feel just at some point, being from a multicultural house, multi-religious house, we were just different. You know, our home was different. And growing up here at the time felt like, at least where I studied, etc., I just felt there was a bit of a difference between me and everyone else around me. I was in Allison.
Oh, Allison, okay.
I mean, I made the best friends of my life, but I just felt there was something different. Our homes were different. Our upbringings were different. Not in a judgmental way. It was just different. Not in a good or bad way. It was just different. And I think at some point I felt I don't really fit.
Neither here nor there,
here.
Okay, here.
I don't fit. I knew at the time that I wanted to do something related to fashion, but I knew that I don't know how to draw. I'm not creative with my hands. Like my mind is creative, but I'm not physically creative. Like I don't know how to do anything with my hands, right? So I was like, khalas, this is something that I want to delve into. And at the same time, I don't feel Egypt is the place for me. So I finished high school at 16, quite early actually, because I'm like December baby. If I went with a year ahead. I tell my parents I want to go to Italy. At that point, I want to travel generally. I want to go to study abroad. At that point, my brother was already studying abroad. He was in Italy actually. So he did Italy and London for a year, which I ended up doing as well. And they're like, you're 16, there's no way you're going to go and live alone now. Like, this is too soon. You're going to stay in Egypt. So I went to AEC for a year, which was amazing also because I got to meet a lot more people that were much more aligned with who I am and different people who had lived abroad, people who grew up differently. But I was still coming back home every day. And I want to leave. I still want to leave. I don't want to be here. Egypt is just not doing it for me at the moment. And
When was this? What year?
This was 2004.
Okay. Wow.
2004. And then finally, طبعا من كتر الزن and me being me and every day, like holding these tantrums where I want to go. And they're like, okay, fine. You finish this year and then you go. So at 17, I left to Italy. I went to a small town to begin with because my mom just felt it's better, it's more contained. I'm young, she didn't want to send me to a big city. So I went to a small town in Italy called, the university was in a place called Lucca, which is in Tuscany.
Oh.
But I was living by the seaside. So it was amazing because it was like the Saint-Tropez of Italy. It was amazing. There's a lot of great parties, great people. It was actually much more wild than a bigger city. But I went there for a year and I enrolled into a course that was fashion and luxury goods management. So it was exactly what I wanted to do, something related to fashion, something related to luxury goods, etc., but management.
So you knew what you wanted to do at that time?
Yeah. I knew what I wanted to do when I was 14.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's impressive because
Yeah.
I don't really know what I want to do yet. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, now I don't know what I want to do next, maybe in a lot of things, but I knew this was a field I wanted to work in. I knew I wanted to do something related to fashion, something related to the lifestyle and luxury world. I was quite clear on that.
And did you choose management maybe because, like you said, you're not creative with your... Okay.
Yeah.
Because I can relate to that because as an interior designer, I don't draw. I took a course in London and I was appalling at the drawing thing. I'm not good at it.
No way.
So I always felt like that's a bit of an impediment to me. Do you feel like that's something that's... Well, now because you went to management.
Because then I discovered the other form of creativity that I can offer. فاهمة قصدي؟ It's not like, yes, of course, I'd love to draw. I'd love to be able to, I don't know, like
sketch something
or whatever, or create a dress or whatever it is. But I love that my creativity is more of a hidden talent. You know, it's in here and it's mine and I can live in it and I can let it out whenever I want. And it comes in ways that is surprising and it's not tangible. So I like that, actually.
That's a nice way of looking at it, actually. Yeah. Because I always felt like it was such a bad thing for me that I don't know how to draw as an interior designer.
Really?
But, yeah.
But how do you do it then?
It's in there. It's like I kind of visualize it. I have like a strong... But I don't...
You do pretty... I mean, your mood boards are very...
But I would say maybe as an interior designer, I'm more... There are a lot of very creative people in Egypt that are so creative and so amazing, and they come up with really interesting things. I think I'm a bit more niche in the sense that I have a certain style in homes, and I'm more inclined to do homes than commercial spaces. Yeah. And I just have a sense of what I like and what works now. And because I've been doing it for 20 years, I know what works, what's practical. I can read my clients well. Yeah. And I have clients I know clients well enough that I've done several projects with them. So they kind of give me a little bit more free hand. Okay. So I don't feel like that's
so you don't
necessarily...
draw it?
No, I don't. I do I do plans. Exactly. I do layouts and plans and things like that. And if it's really complicated, it's a very big project, I do it with an architectural firm in conjunction with one.
Amazing.
So that we come up with like the proper plans. But anyways, so continue. So tell us about management.
I did fashion luxury goods management, which entails about marketing. I mean, all the business side. And I always say, like, a lot of people are like, oh, you work in fashion, you're so passionate about fashion. And I'm like, no, I'm passionate about the business of fashion, actually. This is the part that inspires me the most. I'm not your trendsetter. I'm not your shopper. I get anxiety when I go shopping. It's not the part of it that I really enjoy. I actually really enjoy the business side of it. Anyway, so I do this university. I did the first year in Tuscany. The second year, I went to London. And because this university has different campuses around. So they have Milan, London, New York, Florence, and Rome.
What school is it? What's it called?
European School of Economics.
Okay.
Yeah. I ended up doing this. So my second year, which was my first year in Italy, was obviously in Tuscany. My third year, I did in London. Mm-hmm. And that's like a 6-month course and then 6-month internship. And my internship was in PR, and I'll get back to that. And then the fourth year was in Milan, which is where I graduated. So it was nice that I could actually move with the flexibility of not losing like scores or results or what you need. It was just simple to like maneuver wherever you wanted to go. And sometimes you found the same students that maybe traveled the same places with you. Sometimes you met new people. So it was really nice. It was a nice network of people. Anyway, so I went to London and I had to do this internship. And the first internship I did was in a Swedish brand called J. Lindeberg.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I read about it because I know that you worked there. It's a marketing company?
No, it's a fashion brand.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
It's really
Diesel. They own Diesel.
No. J. Lindeberg is a brand.
That's something else.
That's something else, yeah. J. Lindeberg is a brand on its own. It's a Swedish brand. It's very well known كمان for golfers scene وكده because they have that very preppy kind of look. Okay. And anyway, so I do this internship. It was just for like a month or two. And it was very generic. Like I was doing everything from finance to samples to like literally just an intern, like to coffee runs, anything that they would have me do. And after that, I went to do another internship with Diesel in their press office in London, in the UK. So their UK press office. And that was everything that had to do with like meeting up with stylists and doing appointments with them for their pulls that they needed for celebrities. That was working on events and guest lists and managing this and that. It was media reports. Like it was everything PR related. And it was the first time that I'd actually been doing PR. And I remember the first month or two, it was quite challenging because a lot of it was small talk, right? PR.
Yeah.
A lot of it is small talk.
You mean internally or?
With people that you're dealing with, you know, like even now when I work on an event or something and you go and you have all these guests, a lot of it is going to be small talk. We're not going to connect on a deeper level, you know, we don't have time for that. But a lot of it is small talk. And I love your bag. I love this. I love that. And I remember at the time I was like, this is the part that I don't really resonate with, yani small talk part. Mm-hmm. But I really like the job. I love that it's very dynamic. I love that you do many different things at the same time. You meet so many people, and I love people. I love meeting people. I love sitting with people, listening to their stories. I think that's what attracted me to the job itself. So I stay there for 6 months, and I do everything from coffee runs to sample send-outs. And this is something that I always say to like the younger generation. I was closed in a closet. I was locked in a closet for like 80% of the day, just, you know, like bringing back samples, hanging them up, shipments, you know, on the computer, it's like green and black. There's nothing that you can do on this computer. It was actually the very like, I don't want to use the word dirty
work.
The dirty work, you know?
We did a lot. We got our hands dirty.
The donkey work, you know?
Yes, it's true.
A lot of it. Like I've done so much of that because now, you know, like I feel sometimes people want like the fast track.
Easy
and
way.
There's no fast track.
It's
literally,
no
you
way.
have to do the dirty work. There's a lot of dirty work to it.
That's true.
And if you don't do that, you don't know el base of the job.
You don't know how it works.
Yeah, you don't know how it works. Like you need to be in that closet to understand what it means to do sample movement, whatever it is. So I worked with them for 6 months in London. And then my boss at the time, she had moved to Milan. And I moved to Milan also because I was finishing my studies there. And as soon as I graduated, they called me and they're like, listen, you were working, because obviously she suggested that I work with them. You've been working with the UK press office, but now we have another position here, which is more of a global position. Mm-hmm. So you don't do like the actual, let's say, operational for one country, but you do the strategy for 22 countries. So the press strategy, the event strategy, communication strategy, whatever it is, like, on a global level, and then you coordinate with all the local PRs, whether they're agencies or in-house for Diesel, on implementing this locally. And then obviously because we were based in Italy, so we would also work with a lot of Italian press.
So you took that job?
I took that job.
And you were pretty young, though.
Say no.
I was young. I want to say 20. Okay. 20, yeah. Because then I stayed there for a year, and
that must have been very exciting.
It was very exciting because it was such an exciting time to be with Diesel, because it was when they were the pioneers of communication, and they were like, for very long, Diesel were amazing. They did the best campaigns. They were just on a whole different league, you know, like you wanted to work there, and everything about working there, like you would go start work there and they're like, welcome to Planet Diesel, you know, and you felt like, wow. Like,
and Diesel is an Italian brand.
It's an Italian
because
brand.
I think it was a very, I had that confusion.
That it was American?
That it was American.
No, it's Italian.
No, and then, and then when we, this is a while ago though, like probably when we were in Rome, like 20 years ago, but before that, I used to always think it was American.
Anna, when I went to Rome with Mom that one time, I was surprised, it was what, 20
years ago, over 20 years ago.
Yeah, like 23 years ago, Diesel was the cheapest in Italy, and I didn't know why. And then I found out then that it's Italian.
Yeah. And it was interesting because then they were launching also they were doing two big launches. One of them was their premium collection, which was called Black Gold, Gold Black or Black Gold, something like this. And it was a more high-end line for Diesel. But they were also doing Diesel Home, So it was a really interesting time to work with them because they were launching new product categories and seeing how that integrates and how you communicate that. Because when you're a brand that's known for denim and jeans and casual wear, how do you communicate?
How do you pivot
into a new product category? Because this is what a lot of brands that we work with always end up wanting to do. Like I want to enrich my product range. I want to be a more well-rounded brand.
So how does that work as a PR person? Like, how does it work? Like when you're very well known for one thing, and then you want to like branch out and include different things. How do you? You
make sure that that your key values and your key messages and your persona remain the same.
So your slogan remains the same.
Yeah.
The product remains the same, which might be, I don't know, what's the slogan for Diesel?
Why do I not remember it now?
Let's say if it's comfortable, accessible wear, then you're gonna make sure that your furniture is comfortable.
It was so comfortable. They had the best couches.
And we saw it in Cyprus. Remember, they had that store furniture.
Diesel furniture?
Oh my God! Salt and Pepper, the store that we always like to go to.
But I never noticed that Diesel.
Yeah, they had a Diesel couch in there. Oh, you didn't? I didn't point it out to you.
I have mom brain, so a lot of the times I don't remember as well. I used to remember every single thing. Now it's like I'm like, really?
Yeah. They had the sofa. I remember it was kind of like a bluish color,
like a denim color.
They have a really nice denim one, and it's quite deep.
Low. Yeah, it's a bit low and it's deep. It was really nice. You're the one that noticed it, I think, or I noticed it because I said I didn't realize Diesel makes furniture.
Yeah,
that was the first thought that came into my mind when I saw it, and this was like maybe 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah. So how long did you stay in Milan for then?
So I stayed for a year. And at the time, I was dating a guy from Florence, and he had to move back to Florence. And of course, when you're young and you're in love and you feel like it's the end of the world if we're 2.5 hours apart. Yeah. How is this ever going to survive? So I wanted to find a way to be in Florence. And so I decided to apply for jobs there. The thing is, though, that Florence, even though there's a lot of like fashion houses based there, it's more the merchandising departments or the buying departments or the production departments, because that's where a lot of leather is being produced, right? So it's very well known, the whole area around Florence, Prato, etc. Like it's well known for leather production. I try applying to jobs, I try to go for interviews, but it's always about merchandising and buying, and I have no experience in merchandising and buying. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do my master's because I wanted to do it anyway. And one of the best fashion schools in Europe is in Florence. It's called Polimoda.
Okay.
So I'm like, you know what? It's a great opportunity. I'll do my master's. So I end up going to Florence. And funny enough, before starting my master's, I had applied to many jobs, right? And one of the brands that I applied to over and over again was Salvatore Ferragamo. Okay, I'm sure you know the brand.
It's nice.
So I end up doing the master's, and keep in mind, I was terrible at school. I was terrible at university, and during my master's, I cheated my way through life. Like through my academic life, I cheated my way. And first few years, like primary, I was still a good student, but like the moment I got to high school, I was like, "Khalas, I'm a lost case." Like they're like, she has ADHD. I'm like, no, I'm just not interested. Like I don't have ADHD. I'm just not interested in the method you're teaching me in. I was interested more in like sociology, history, like psychology, but then everything else, this isn't for me. Like had no interest for it.
Yeah, I don't understand people who do masters and PhD. I like barely made it through college, and I was like, thank God, I'm never going to study again.
Finished, I was like,
I hated it.
Yeah. I did study.
I prefer working than studying.
But like now, I'd really like to do my PhD or like another not PhD, to do my MBA. Sorry, I'd love to do an MBA because I'm like, I feel I missed out on so much like academic.
I know what you mean.
Knowledge.
But when you have a business and you're at a different stage, then you're like, when you want to study for a reason to enhance your entrepreneurial skills. But when you're out of college and then go to PhD and masters, I feel like for me, it's like I just didn't want to be studying. I hated that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you did your MBA then? So
I did my master's then, where I met a fantastic group of people. We were...
You were still with your boyfriend at that time, though?
I was.
Okay.
I was. And I met this amazing group of people that we're actually still in touch till now. So we're still very connected, that every year we travel to a new place in the world together. And it's amazing.
Oh, that's nice.
And I don't know how we've been committed to it with kids and people moving to different parts of the world and everything. Like, we're still really committed to it. So I think it's one of the most beautiful things that I got out of this experience.
That is pretty nice.
It is. It is. It really is.
She's a Sagittarian. She's a fire sign.
I'm a Capricorn.
You're a Capricorn. When are you?
26th December.
Okay.
Right after Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Okay. But you have a lot of qualities of Sagittarians.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because I'm a Sagittarian.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
So she sees...
What are you?
I'm a Gemini.
Okay. Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, so go ahead, continue.
Anyway, what happens then? So I finish my master's, which obviously I cheated my way into it and out of it. And I end up emailing again Ferragamo for the job. And it was like the 7th time I sent my CV. So they're like, okay, come in for an interview. And I go for an interview. They're like, you have been so persistent that we had to meet you. Like, you've been knocking our door over and over again. And we told you we didn't have a position that fits your experience, this, that. Anyway, I start working with them. And I started working with them not in PR. I worked in the licensing department. So the licensing department was the department that handled their timepieces and sunglasses, because these were produced by a different company, okay? So 2 different companies, Luxottica for the eyewear, Timex for the watches. So they're produced by another company and then obviously sold within the Ferragamo. And this is usual with all like fragrances, etc. This is a usual method. So anyway, what happened? So I work with them, and the amazing thing about this experience was it was like a small company, because I would do everything from design input, working with the designers, to the production, following up with that, to the sales and distribution, to the marketing, to the reporting and what's performed and how it's performed. So it was like working in a small company. So I saw every step of a company, of creating a brand. So it was an amazing experience. And I remember I was on my desk one day and HR comes in and they're like, we want to talk to you. And I'm like, okay, I'm in trouble, like for sure. And they're like, so we really think that your character and just the way you are, you're much more fit for PR. Like, you're very fit for PR. And we have a position that opened up now and you're natural. So we'd like you to go into PR. And the position that opened up was, again, a global position. So 45 countries at this point.
Wow.
Working with China, the States, Russia, Mexico, everything. Working with PRs and Ferragamo PR departments around the world on the strategy, on the events, on the press, on the shoots, on everything, on influencer campaigns that had started only when I was finishing up the career, because influencers didn't exist then.
Yeah, around what year is that?
This is 2010.
Okay.
Yeah. That's when I was leaving, which was 2016, which is when...
Oh, you stayed with them for that long?
Yeah.
How long were you... So you were with them for... What?
Actually, I started 2009 with them and I left 2016.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so I stayed 7 years. And when I left, I came here to Egypt. They called me back as a freelance for one of their projects again, which isn't quite usual, for big companies. I mean, it's not like I'm a senior resource at the time. So
yeah.
I mean, I was a PR manager, but not, they usually can get consultants for like much bigger roles, etc. Anyway, so I stayed with them for 7 years, and I think it was like the dream job. I was traveling around the world. I was always somewhere. I was somewhere new. I had a lot of independence. I had bosses.
Were you wearing all their clothes?
I was wearing mainly actually not their clothes, but more their accessories.
Okay.
Because their clothes, are quite classic.
Their shoes are very comfortable. The high heels, because I'm not
me neither.
But the Ferragamo ones are
they are
incredibly comfortable, actually.
Yeah.
So yes.
But it was. I feel like I was doing exactly what I wanted to do. You know, like I was working with people. I was meeting so many different people. I was working with something that's creative, because when you work on event concepts, creativity comes out. When you're working on specific campaigns, because we would get like, can I use this bottle? Sorry. So you would get for example, they're launching a fragrance, and you would get the marketing team. They would come to you and be like, okay, so this is what we need to launch next. Mm-hmm. And based on that, you had to think about the creative part of how am I going to turn this bottle of fragrance into an experience, into an event, into an emotion, into...
So tell me something, Hoa, how many events did you guys do a year, for example?
35.
Oh, a ton.
35?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I thought you were going to tell me...
35, 37.
And did they have to cater, does the event have to cater to like the worldwide network, or is it like specific to Italy or specific?
Yeah. So we would do like maybe 2 or 3 events a year, which were global.
International.
Yeah. So we would fly in press from all over the world, celebrities, personas. We would fly them in. And usually we do these in Italy. Mm-hmm. So where we're based, because it's an Italian... In Milan and Florence.
Okay.
So we've done either Milan and Florence, because it is an Italian company. It's actually a Florence-based company. Mm-hmm. So we would do either global...
Okay.
Audience.
The 36 campaigns, were they...
36 events.
Events.
Yeah.
Were they, let's say, same campaign, but implemented in different countries? Or
they could be either same product or 2 different products.
Okay.
So so you have one strategy, and then you're like implementing it
in different
countries based on the different budgets. So it can go from like a small press launch to a 2,000 people like social event.
Okay.
But you create, like, the idea is the office where I was working, we would create the strategy that would then be like either downsized for something smaller or bigger. And then we'd obviously work with a lot of media. We'd work with a lot of celebrities.
Did you work with PR agencies? Because obviously it was in-house. So would you guys come together and come up with the idea together with the agency? Or is it your
in-house
idea and the agency implements it?
Our idea and the agency implements it.
Okay. Got it.
The agency had no role rather than just the executional part. Okay. And that's why I say it's so easy to have an agency that works with luxury brands, because the work is done for you.
Yeah. All you have to do, you just implement.
Yeah.
And was part of that job, was there any moments that were stressful?
Of course.
What was stressful about that?
It is a stressful job.
The PR package, the PR, making sure the
everything. I mean, PR is
stressful. It is stressful, especially before events.
And now it's even more stressful, because now you've added the phones, you've added digital.
Social media changed everything.
And so now you're connected 24 hours.
Because then you didn't. Then you didn't have that, right?
Then you didn't.
It's just the media. You're inviting the media
and
from different publications.
The press releases were on CDs.
Oh, you're lucky. You mean they were printed on paper?
Oh, well, I had them printed. Yeah, I had them printed on paper. I was just about to say that, printed on paper. And then we went into CDs and then USBs. And now it's like a drive. Cloud.
And when I was in PR, I was on the she was in PR for a year. I stayed in PR for 10 years, but on the agency side. And that's not fun.
Yeah. Because I'm on the agency side now, and I've never worked in an agency, and it's challenging. It's challenging.
So Inty, you were on the other side, and now
I was client side. So I've never worked in an agency.
And now, since you moved here in 2016, right?
2016. So I left Ferragamo. I went to another. I felt at some point I was great at the job, honestly, and I think one needs to praise themselves when they're good with something.
Definitely,
so
I agree.
I was great at the job, but I felt I was just doing it blindfolded. It wasn't challenging anymore. After so many years, I knew the formula. I knew what needs to get done. I had changed a few bosses, so it
just became routine, basically.
It became routine, and I needed the challenge. So at the time, I decided to go work for another brand, which is a luxury shoes brand called Aquazzurra.
Oh, of course we know them.
You know,
beautiful shoes. Those I don't think are possible to walk in. Those ones. They're so high.
They're so high.
Anyways,
so I go work with them, and it was a completely different dynamic because now you're talking at the time a startup company, and I came from a very big structured corporate company, so everything was so organized. And I worked with Aquazzurra. I think it was like for, I want to say 8 months. Mm-hmm. Not long. I didn't stay long. I just felt our company culture didn't align much. So when you don't fully believe in whether the company or the product or whatever it is that you're working with, you can't PR it.
Yeah,
like
for
it's
sure.
impossible. You have to fully believe in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, it becomes impossible because you're the ambassador for this brand, right? So you need to believe in it firsthand so that you can communicate it and make others believe in it. So anyway, I worked with Aquazzurra for a bit, and while I was working with Aquazzurra, that's when
things started happening. You broke up with your boyfriend.
Oh, no, I broke up with him a lot. That one? Oh, no, that's not... So that one, we broke up a long time ago. Okay. I think I was working with Ferragamo. It was the first year or two that I was working with Ferragamo. So I ended up staying in Florence, and khalas, that's done.
Okay, so that was...
And our lives went in separate ways, etc. And then I started dating another guy that I met in Ferragamo.
Okay.
So... but that's not the reason I ended up staying in Florence. I was there, so khalas, I stayed in Florence. And so something started shifting within me, I didn't know, what am I doing? What do I want to do next? Do I want to apply to another job? And I was like, maybe one day I want to work with more emerging brands. I have all these connections now, all this know-how, all this experience. How can I bring that to something that's a little bit more fulfilling in a way? And I didn't know, it was just a thought. And then 2 of my friends came to Florence to visit me. Not to visit me. One was to do an Italian course. And then the other one, I don't know, he was there for work or something. So anyway, we go out one day and they don't know each other. And we're having a conversation and I'm telling them there's something, I don't know, something's not sitting right. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know where I want to be. What my next career move is. I was still at Aquazzurra at the time, but because I wasn't happy, I was thinking a lot, what do I want to do next? And the guy that I was dating at the time was in Vienna anyway. He was doing his master's there. So I had no reason to stay in Florence. So what was it that I wanted to do? And I remember one of the nights we had this conversation, and I use this a lot, اتعلم ارجع انفع بلدك, and this is something that is very common here. سافر اتعلم ارجع انفع بلدك. And I was like, maybe I can work with Egyptian brands. And it was just a thought, كده, one day. And then a few weeks later, I go to Vienna to see my boyfriend at the time. And I was one day just hanging out in a Starbucks. And I'm like, okay, so if I would have a consulting firm, what would I call it? Or it has to have a name, And I started looking at GoDaddy, what are the available domains? I write different names. All of them are taken. And then I find Flair. And I'm like, okay, Flair. It's it's like a spark of light. It's like shedding light on something. Communication does that because it puts you in center stage. So you shine brighter with PR. So I'm like, okay, I like Flair. Let's keep it. And I buy it and khalas. I never use it. That's it. It's gone. I have it, but I don't use it. I go back to Italy, and within a month or 2, I end up quitting my job, that Aquazzurra job that I had. And at the same time, I end up breaking up with my boyfriend. Oh. So everything's gone to hell, right now, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no job. This ended, and I just don't feel ready to start over because I'd been alone for 11 years. I left when I was 17, and people say, living abroad, that's amazing, it's great, but it is challenging.
It's
you know,
tough.
you're caretaker constantly. Like, you're sick, you need to get paperwork, and it's not like here you call them khalasati, or you call the pharmacy and it comes to the house, or
I know.
We're spoiled here, you know.
For sure.
After like 11 years, I was like, la, khalas, I need to rest. Like, I'm tired. And I decided to come to Egypt for the summer.
And are your parents still here?
My parents were here, yeah, and they're still here. My mom is still here. So anyway, I come back to Egypt and I go to Sahel, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have a summer kida where I enjoy.
There's no such thing as a summer in Sahel to enjoy. You're gonna party
God,
your butt off,
yes.
and like
You're just
big
like
time
Sahel.
network. I hate it, but it's a great networking for somebody who does. I mean,
I wasn't there for networking.
Yeah.
I'm a lover of the
Yeah.
sea. No, I'm just a lover of the sea. So just being by the sea brings me a lot of peace and a lot of like clarity. Yeah. So for me, and I love Sahel. Like, now I can tell you it's evolved into parts that I don't like.
yeah.
But at the time, it was still like super genuine. I liked it. Yes, there's a party scene, but I was much more focused on me, actually. I was more into like going to the beach early, working out. I kind of know when I need to have discipline, you know? And when shit hits the fan, I know this is when, you can do whatever you like to do, but stay focused, stay aware. Don't start partying 24 hours and be like I was 27 or 28 at the time, just no responsibilities, no commitments. And so I spent the summer in Sahel, and I remember I was on the beach one day and I turned around, my parents were sitting right behind me, and I'm like, I'm moving back. And my dad was obviously super happy. My mom was like, no. You're not doing this. You're not coming back. Because she knew like I'd have much better opportunity abroad, especially within my career. I had already had such a great career. So my next steps were like working for like brands like Gucci, for Dior, Chanel. Like this is where my career would have evolved. And these were the types of interviews I was doing, right? But I just felt, I want to move back. I want to become a sheep of the herd again, like part of the herd again. I felt like I don't want to be solo. I don't want to be the black sheep. I want to be the beige one, like with all the other sheep. So I go back to Italy with my mom in September. We pack my house. I bring my dog, and I come back to Egypt. I have no plan. I had left my job. I was heartbroken. Like there were so many elements to it.
You actually posted something recently about how you started. And
actually, yesterday.
Is that how you started? Like basically that you had no money?
Yeah.
So is that when you came back?
Yes.
That's what happened?
Yes. I had no money because when I quit my job, I had some money saved, and stupid me had forgotten to declare her taxes between the two changes of the job, between Ferragamo and Acquazzurra. So I got a really bad tax fine. Oh. So my savings went to that.
Ooh.
So I came back and I'm like, ala balota, you know? I mean, obviously I had my family. It's not like I was poor. Like it sounds dramatic, but I didn't have my own personal... And at 28, khalas, you're a grown-up adult. You should have your money and you should have your savings. You've been working for so long. I've been working since I was 20. Actually, my first internship was here in Egypt when I was 16. But anyway, I'd been working for a long time.
So basically you came back and you're starting from scratch in a way.
I was rock bottom, but خلاص no job, no love life, no money. And I think it was, I'd love to find myself in that situation again.
Really? Would you do it differently?
No, I'd never do anything differently. I have no regrets in life. I don't know what regret is.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, no, me too.
It's alhamdulillah, I'm very blessed with that. Not knowing what regret is, it means that you've chosen everything for a reason. And it's a reason that made sense at the time. Khalas, maybe now, if I look back at it, I would have, I'd do this today differently. But I could have not chosen it differently back then because that's what I knew, that's what I wanted to do. And
that brought you to where you are now.
Exactly.
The decisions.
So why would you want to be in that situation again then?
Because when you're rock bottom, you can only go up.
It's true. You're right.
Or you can stay there.
There's no fear.
You have nothing to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
You literally have nothing to lose.
It's the most, what's the word? Liberating. I find time to be in, because you can just shape it into whatever you want it to be, your life. You know what I'm saying? You can look at it, you're looking at it from a new perspective almost.
Yeah.
And they say, what's that expression, that comfort is the enemy of success?
But what is success?
Well, success is whatever
doing
you
something
see.
that, I mean, yeah, I guess people have different definitions, but it depends on what, to me, success is what fulfills you.
Yeah.
It makes you happy. But I do feel that there's a problem sometimes with a lot of this generation now, that they're comfortable, therefore there isn't that push for them to do anything that will if you don't do anything that's going to break you out of the comfort zone, then you won't really necessarily move and become very successful, I feel. Your success will be limited.
You're never going to be successful in whatever success is to you. Success could be bring up your children, whatever success is to you. But you're never going to be successful if you're in a comfort zone.
For sure.
Ever.
So what Steve Harvey said, be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You have to just get comfortable with it.
And so you started that in 2016, you started here. So you decided to set up a company.
No.
What'd you do?
I didn't do that. So I was like, okay, what do I do now? My next step is that I can go anywhere because I do have the passport, so I can literally move anywhere if I wanted to. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to move back. I'm going to move to Egypt just for a bit, and then I'm going to move to Dubai. Because when I was in Italy, I'd get headhunted a lot from Dubai because it was the time where the Dubai fashion scene was growing, etc. And a friend of my best friend, actually, I remember one conversation we had, she's like, you've been gone for so long, I'm going to be selfish and I'm going to ask that you consider staying for a bit. And then if you don't like it, you can always leave, Yani, it's okay. So I was like, you know what? Okay, let me give it a shot. So I didn't know what I'm going to do. I decided to borrow money from my brother, 3,000 pounds. I get a desk at a co-working space, Urban Station from Handasin. Mm-hmm. And I go there every day from 9 to 6, literally as if I have a corporate job, 9 to 6, and I take a 1-hour break and I'm on my computer and I'm like, you're going to sit here until you figure out what you're going to do with your life. You're going to, shufi ba, I don't know what you're going to do. So a few weeks passed by, and then one night I was at home and I was getting dressed to go out, and I remember pulling out like a pair of earrings, and I was like, oh, my friends gifted me these earrings the year before, and I looked and it was an Egyptian brand called Jud bin Halim. And it started coming back to me, remember that you wanted to work with local brands, consult them, etc. So I ended up emailing them. I'm like, hi, my name is Ingy, I do this is my experience, I'd love to come meet you, maybe we can work together. And I go and I meet them, and they're like, actually, yes, we're actually working with someone right now, but we love that you have that international know-how, that international connections, etc. So we'd like to work with you. And that's when I was like, okay, remember Flair? I'm like, okay, this is when we could, because I didn't want to send the emails to press from like my Gmail. So let's use Flair again and use it as a consultant, not as an agency. Like my idea was not to become an agency. So I ended up working with them, and then they wanted to do an event. This was in November 2016. They wanted to do an event in December, and I ended up doing it. But because I was alone, and working on an event is very difficult when you're alone.
Oh my God, it's so difficult.
And you can't do it solo. There's so many things.
Definitely.
So
not.
I call a friend of mine, Busaina, who at the time had the fashion studio, which is a studio that gives courses in fashion, so styling, etc. And we worked on a fashion PR course together. But it wasn't really a course. Like, you'd come, do the job, learn while you do it. And then I'd sit at the end of the day for like an hour or two and be like, okay, so the theoretical explanation of what was done today practically, or what you're going to do tomorrow practically, is this, and that. So I found a way to have people support in the event, interns, etc., who wanted to learn. And at the same time, I have more set of hands.
Okay, that's great.
So I do the event. It ends up being a great success. كان وقتها the devaluation happened in Egypt in October, so a lot of import and export stopped. So local production started. So brands started calling me, Ida, we've heard you've done Jude's events. So what am I going to do? Ida, I need to work with more brands, word of mouth. Okay, so I'm going to hire some of the people that were at the course. Amazing. So more clients came in, more money came in, more people were hired. Okay, let's move from Urban Station, from the desk. I took a room in the office with Yasmina Makram here in Zamalek.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When was that? That was not that long ago then.
That was 2017 or 18.
Right before COVID.
It was right around the corner COVID. Here, wasn't it?
I mean, COVID was 2020, about 17 or 18.
Okay, yeah. Because
it was right around the corner here, صح?
It was in Hassan Asim.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yes, she was there.
And that's how it started. And that's how Flair started. I didn't have the idea to have an agency. It just became an agency
But since then, you've done a lot of very big brands. Like, do you collaborate? You did with Azza Fahmy and Okhtein. You did something.
Yes, we did Azza Fahmy and Okhtein and Balma.
Okay.
Which for me is like, سافر اتعلم ارجع انفع بلدك. And the moment that happened for me was like, okay, this is the moment. I wanted to take local brands globally. And that was for me one of the aha moments. Like, because in your career or as a business owner or whatever it is, there are moments where like there's a shift and then you stay there for a while and then there's another shift. And it's not like this. There are moments that define the next level of your business. And that was one of these moments, like for me personally, but also obviously for the agency, because it was one of the most important fashion moments of the region that year. But yes, it's...
I think that was one of the first collaborations of like a local brand with somebody abroad global. That's like global, that's like really well known. Yeah. And what did they do? So they did a specific line in Azza Fahmy?
No, they did one piece. It was a bustier. Azza Fahmy did it with brass, the Eye of Horus.
I saw it.
Yeah. And Okhtein did it with resin.
Okay.
With their emblem.
And how did that work? Did it work really well? Was it very like popular abroad and things like that?
It wasn't a sales product. It was just for the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't a commercial product.
Okay.
I mean, it would be very hard to have it as a commercial
product. So was it more like a runway thing?
It was a runway thing.
Okay. Got it.
How many, what brands, are there any brands that you think that you would love to work with that you haven't worked with yet?
Locally, you mean?
Or
regionally?
Actually, no. Do you see a local brand and an international brand that you would want to like have them collaborate?
Wow, I have to think about that. I'm not on the spot kind of person, Khalis. If you like, what's your favorite food? I don't know. I'm not that kind of person, Khalis. But let me think about it while we speak about something else. But I'm sure there are many. There are many, many, many synergies that I would see. But it's also not an answer that I can give you on the spot, because for me, it's not just about, this brand looks similar to this, so I want to combine them. I really need to know the essence and the core values of both. And if they align, if visually they look very different, that's where I would want them to meet. It would have to be a little bit more studied for me. I don't have it top of mind, but I'll come back to you on that.
Are the local brands...
I feel like I'm on an interview.
No, don't worry about it.
Did I get the job?
Just because I'm kind of like when I was in PR, it was to me, it was a pain in the ass towards the end. I hated it, being on the agency side. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah,
but
it is stressful.
What I really didn't like about it was they didn't care if you're creative or not in their campaigns.
In Egypt.
No way.
No. They didn't care at all.
That's the only thing we care about when we interview people now to hire. And
maybe because of the social media thing has shifted the whole aspect.
How do you think, actually, since the beginning of your career, how do you think PR has shifted?
And I want her to finish the story. You were saying something. I didn't want to cut you off.
No. I'll tell you, because I worked for multinational PR agencies. So a lot of times I went to the Dubai office or Beirut and stuff like that. Clients want creative ideas, but they don't want to spend on creative ideas.
100%.
Especially here in Egypt, especially
Yeah.
here, you know what I'm saying? So I would come up with like super creative ideas. One was for Orange. I was just like, you got to do this. It's going to be cool. You're in the towers. You're right in front of the Nile. You need to have those, you know, those lanterns that fly up.
Yeah.
You need to put them, and then they can float on the water as well. I'm like, you need to do this. Oh, we love the idea. How much is it going to cost? X. Yeah, no. Let's just do a regular press conference.
Is it always like that? I thought it was
that's
very
where
much in
creativity
Egypt.
also comes in, because you need to be super creative on a low budget, and that's like impossible.
Especially here in Egypt, you know what I'm saying? You want to buy like a little USB thing, and it's like 500 pounds to distribute to the guest list.
Yeah.
And then you have to keep upping the price of the giveaways. You know what I mean? So they're not happy with a little pamphlet anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They want something bigger. They want something more. So to me, it was also...
What was your most creative event that you did, Nir?
Wait, what was it? Let me think. I think it was for P&G.
What was it?
One of the... It was for Pampers, actually.
I was just going to tell you, was it a diaper thing?
It was Pampers. And I liked the guy who was in charge of that Pampers is married to a friend of my best friend. And so he was a lovely... You have really nice clients. You have really shitty clients. So luckily for me, most of the time I had really nice clients. But, you know, there was one that waited to the last minute. Oh, Nir, the event is tomorrow and you're calling me today. Are you crazy? Can't be done. But you have to do it anyway. So especially when they're on retainer. One of my clients called me and I was out on the street looking for giveaways till midnight. Ashan Hadratu forgot to tell me.
Yeah, this is PR.
This is PR. So
is it still like that now?
Of course.
And I could never switch to the client side because my Arabic was never strong enough.
Oh, okay.
See, so I always had, it was always one of those things. But then after a while, it just got tremendously boring to me. It's just
boring.
That's
very interesting.
It's a cookie cutter thing. The clients are different, but the mentality of the client is the same.
But do you think, I feel like the events, do you find them, does it challenge you, these events that you do for PR events? Because they seem to be now, it's mainly about people expanding in the region, but I think the PR events seem a little bit the same, right? It's just about networking. It's just about introducing. It's about creating a personal brand that resonates with people.
Right.
But is it necessarily about the creativity of the event? Doesn't feel like it anymore, right?
No,
because again, because a lot of times you're restricted with budget, 100%.
And social media kind of shifted the whole. Now you're looking for influencers more than media, because the influencers are kind of the new media. Whereas
but you still want to give them a very Instagrammable event, right?
Yes,
you want to give them something that's super creative. Creativity is there. The problem is, again, you're working with...
Is Instagrammable with creativity, or is it the people that are there? The who's who?
Well, the people that are there, I mean, especially in Cairo, it's the same people. So how many times can you get creative?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a lot of the same network of people. So.
And you're constantly catering to the same people.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm assuming, especially in fashion,
fashion design, art, which is art. Yeah. We do have the same audience over and over again. Of course, I mean, we tend to diversify, obviously, from an event to another, but you're going to overlap on so many people, so you have to be a little bit creative. But the challenge that we have is that we don't work with multinationals. We don't work with anyone that has budget. We work with local brands or regional brands. So budgets are completely different. You have to be creative. There's no option here.
So what is the last event that you've done that you said you were really proud of and said, like, this is this was creative and what I wanted and what I had in mind?
I think 2 events, actually, because we were doing them from A to Z, like everything from creative concept to implementation, etc., were the launch of Sandro and Maj in Egypt. You know, the French brand.
Yes, of course. Yes.
And they were both very different with very different audiences. And one was Maj is younger, more fresh, more vibrant, more Gen Z. While Sandro is a little bit more established, more like chic.
What was the event? Where'd you do it?
Sandro we did in Lemon Tree 190. And Maj we did at the mall. And I think maybe the one at the mall is, I'd actually choose that one because it's very hard to do an event in the mall.
Oh, yeah.
And people actually show up and it's actually fun, creative, engaging. I think the mall, because I've never wanted to do events at malls. I don't go to malls.
Which mall?
Mall of Arabia. So, I'd say that one. In terms of creativity, definitely that one.
Deb, how do you think the culture was differently when you were working in Italy and when you came here? Was there a culture shock for you?
They had more ethics.
In Italy?
Work ethics, maybe,
For
I
sure.
feel. No, work
Although they say Italians are very much like Egyptians.
They are, in the sense of slow-paced, but it's still European, right? So things get done, and
it's more organized.
It's more organized. Yeah. I mean, I'm very lucky to have had that corporate experience abroad, because I feel like I came back and I'm like, everyone knows this about me. I'm like this,
But like you said, Ferragamo was a very well-established company. When you went to Aquazzura, which was a startup at the time, did you feel that it was chaotic?
100%.
So did you feel it was closer
and
to
it's also one of the reasons I couldn't...
You weren't adapting easily.
I wasn't. And now, of course, I'm living in the world of chaos.
I know.
And
nothing is...
What bothers you about it here, the chaos of here? Is there anything that bothers you that you would like people to do differently here?
No, I feel like... I feel we're very like... things happen in a haphazard way. I do prefer clarity. Like, I feel like a lot of times here you go to a meeting or something and it's going to be 2 hours of conversation and you're going to walk out and you have no idea. You have no idea what you're meant to do. I'm like, okay. And I don't even know where to start. And I'm like the person that's going to leave a meeting and I'm like, okay, this is where we start. This is where we go next.
But I want to ask you, because you seem very organized and you're very you have clarity. Is this something you attribute to your working in Italy, or is it just your personality, you think?
Both, I think. I can't tell you when it was a personality. I can't tell you, because I was a mess when I was younger. Like, I was much more like, if I asked my mom, my room was a complete mess. Now I'm very OCD. Is it living alone and obviously having to take care of myself that made me more organized and structured in life and therefore at work? Is it working at a corporate company that had a system? Is it within me? I can't tell you. I think it's a mix.
I'm not super organized, but I remember though in PR, when you have an event, if you're not super, super organized, you're going to forget something. And if you forget something, it's a disaster.
That's a disaster.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like one tiny thing can ruin it.
If you get one thing in an event, it could be that thing that ruins the event almost. So it becomes like, I think one time I flipped out because I think one time for people underneath me forgot to send a cover letter with all the press releases, and I flipped out. Yeah. I'm just like, you can't send a PR package without a cover sheet. I'm like, who's it coming from? What's it about? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this. And so I went nuts. But like, that's the thing. Like in these events, if you're not super organized and you don't know exactly how everything's going to think, then something is going to drop. And if something drops, it could be what makes or breaks the event sometimes.
Absolutely.
So on another note, you just came back from Bali.
I just came back from
Was it your first time in Bali?
It was.
And how do you...
I like this. I like where you're going. I was like, I want to talk about the story of Claire.
Because Ingy, was supposed to be with us a few days ago, but she came back with virus. I want to know, tell me.
I came back with Bali belly.
Yeah, what is? I've never heard of that. For me, Bali, I'm not a very adventurous traveler. Nira is, but Bali is one of those places that I would love to go. So tell me about Bali. Why did you go? And what did you tell?
Why would I go? But see, Anna, I've had this thing over the past few years. Every time I feel very overwhelmed with work, I'll always call my mom and be like, I'm going to shut everything down and I'm moving to Bali and I'm going to become a waitress. Whatever. I want to do a job that when I'm done with that job, I don't have to think about it. I'm not going to think, did I serve them their coffee well? I don't have to think about it. Khalas, my job ends there. And I get that calling. I got that calling so many times over the past few years, like Bali. But I never I travel a lot. I'm always traveling. I love traveling.
For work? as well.
لا for both.
Okay.
لا يعني both. I'm a traveler. I can't stay more than a month and a half in the city. Like I need to, like in Cairo, I need to move around. I love traveling. But Bali, I never looked into it. I never booked it. I just never went in the direction, let's book for Bali. And one of the reasons that I never wanted to go to Bali also is because I have a phobia of geckos.
Okay.
فطبعا خلاص يعني
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
خلاص Bali was just when I quit my job, I'm gonna go to Bali. So whenever that happens, we'll face the geckos then. And then I was going through a very messed up personal time. My whole world كده shifted the past month. And I just felt very unstable, very lost, very...
What happened?
I don't know. Never mind. I was...
It sounds like a major shift.
I was getting married.
Okay.
And things didn't end up working. I mean, now I can tell you didn't end up working out, but at the time, I don't know where I stand. Like it's a gray zone. I was supposed to get married. He was an Egyptian. I was supposed to be leaving the country. Khalas, I was thinking about closing down Flair so that I can leave, so that I can have the flexibility to follow this person, etc., etc. When this gray zone started, I felt like so much of my life was like on a personal level, this is happening, work level. I had been bardo not very focused the past few months because I was shifting, because I was moving, because I was getting married. A lot of my grounds were unstable, and I felt unstable. Sorry, is the word. Why am I saying unstable? Instabilità, because it's Italian. Sorry. It's a good reason for getting it wrong in English. Because instabilità, you know. So because I think in Italian a lot, so sometimes I'll. Anyway, so and I had felt this instability also a lot since my father passed away. My father passed away a year and a half ago.
Sorry for your loss.
Thank you. He's in a better place. And خلاص بقى يعني it was too much of this, you know, like a lot of this. I'm like, okay.
So you needed to reset.
I needed to reset.
We were just talking about this.
I needed to connect. I needed to reset. I don't know. I needed to.
Yes.
I needed to be with me. Yeah. I can't tell you, like, I didn't go, I want to get into my namaste vibe and do 1,000 meditations a day and healing. And
no, there were too many elements and you just need to switch off.
I needed to switch off. I needed to do something. I needed to get out of my comfort zone, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, I really needed to get out of my comfort zone. And I remember calling my friend and I'm like, okay, so the options for Eid, now that I don't have a plan, because I had a plan with my fiance, right? But like a few days before, I had no plan. Khalas, man, I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's up to. So what is the plan? And so I told her, either I come to you in Rome, or I go to Guna, or I go to Bali. She's like, what is something that you wouldn't usually choose? I was like, of course, Bali. She's like, then that's what you're going to do. Because that's what you need right now.
You have good friends.
I have, alhamdulillah, I have really good friends. Yes. And so I ended up booking this retreat and going for it.
Did you go on your own?
I went on my own, yeah. I booked it like a couple of days before traveling and I went there. And the fun thing about this retreat is like you had yoga in the morning, then a meditation at night, and that's it. And the rest of the day
Sound healing, I saw.
Well, that I did personally.
Okay. Because
khalas, when I was there, I was like, okay, so let me do the things that I actually enjoy doing, you know? So and especially Ubud, you have like really nice yoga places. And so
how long were you there for?
I was supposed to be there for a week. I ended up being there for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because the third day I got there, I was just telling someone this. It felt like an out-of-body experience where I stepped out of my body and I looked at myself and I was like, Ida, where have you been?
Wow, that's cool, actually.
I've missed you so much. Mm-hmm. And you're alive. Ida, you're smiling, but you're actually smiling from here. You're laughing, but you're actually laughing from here. And I hadn't laughed from here for like the past 1.5 years, 2 years. I'd smile. I mean, my job is dealing with people, right? So I always have to be the smiley, and it puts a lot of pressure on me. You know what? Sometimes if I have like an off day, people are like, "Are you okay?" No,
because you mentioned that you're an ambivert.
I am an ambivert.
So yeah, explain to those people who don't know what an ambivert is.
So it's an extroverted introvert, which means you feed a lot on being out and being social, and it makes you thrive. You love it, but then it can also really, really like drain you at some point, and that's where you really need to like cocoon, you know, and you really need to be in your own space. And the only way for you to be able to go out again is having that solo time and having that. Whatever you do on your own, yani, whether you're doing your hobbies, your activities, or you're just being on the couch. But I am very introverted in that sense. And حتى in like I know a lot of people, and that's my job, right? But my friends are a very intimate group of friends. And on the weekends, I'm just going to be with my friends. And like my personal time is also very introverted, you know?
That's what I am. I'm an ambivert.
You're an ambivert.
So that's probably... you're an extrovert.
But I like being alone a lot of time, though.
Okay. We always get into this thing.
Yeah, but she thinks because she's...
But it happens with age, I feel.
I'm not comparing it to me. I'm talking about you personally, you as a person. I'm not, and it's not because you as my sister. I'm talking you as a Nira. I understand the difference between extroversion and introverted, and I know what ambivert is. To me, maybe you're not. To me, she's an extrovert. She has moments where she likes to be alone, but that doesn't mean she's an extrovert.
No, it's like 50%. I like to be in my room alone, and I don't like to talk to people.
Okay,
but I like to travel alone. I like to walk in the mornings alone because I like to be in my own.
But that is being an ambivert.
I like to be in my own head. I like to work out, so I don't have to talk to anybody.
Sure.
That is being an ambivert.
Extroverts are not always all the time switched on and always with people.
No,
that's not
of course
the case. That's not what an extrovert is. But anyways, so we're not going to get into this now because I don't mean it in a bad way. I genuinely don't mean it. I think extroverted is actually a great thing because I'm not.
Are you an extrovert or introvert?
Introvert.
Okay.
And actually, what you were saying is like I completely related. I went to this thing with my sister, Nia, just recently. I don't go out often. And I had this moment in Ramadan where I completely switched off. When I went out that night with her, me and her, we went to this thing. I had like an out-of-body experience for the first time in a very long time. I was like, kind of like, what am I doing here? I need to go back home. It's like I felt so uncomfortable. It put me in quite a bad mood, actually. But I get these things. But anyways, so I can relate to people.
Do you have social anxiety?
Sometimes I do.
Is it post-COVID or have you always had it?
No, I've always had it.
Okay.
Since I was young.
Because a lot of people have developed it post-COVID.
And it's interesting because at that party, I was extremely extrovert at that time. And it was weird because a lot of times I've been hanging out with people that are 10 years younger than me. So when I go out to these parties, I have nothing to talk to. I realize that my best friends are a lot younger than me. But when I go to their gatherings, I have nothing to talk about with their friends because it's not a huge age gap, but I feel a disconnect sometimes. Whereas at this party, they were all our age, give or take, plus or minus 3 or 4 years.
It was a great group,
and people we've known from high school. So it was one of those things where, and people that I know well, but I've never seen them in that kind of a setting.
Yeah.
So it really gave me the chance to sit and talk to a lot of people. So I was like super like chatty everywhere. It's odd.
But you know, I relate to you a lot. Like now, especially as I grow, I feel like even when I do our own events, I get a lot of social anxiety. Like all I want to do is like be in my comfort space, whatever that is. But
I used
and
to
it's so bad when this is your job. You know?
I used to feel very uncomfortable about it, and people around me used to feel very uncomfortable about it because when I was younger, it's different. When you're younger and very introverted, it's a bit odd. Especially I used to be out. I used to go out often, but I'm just uncomfortable. Like I feel like a fish out of water a little bit. Yeah. But as long as it's like one person or two people that I know that are very close to me, then I'm okay.
Yeah.
But if I'm just there and it's like I'm like not with anybody, it's like I feel pretty low. But now it's not that. It's just that I prefer being home. I prefer being not home, but I prefer. And I prefer being alone. Like, I prefer being home alone.
But you're also a mother, right? So alone time is something very important for you.
It's
like
much more
it's very
important
different.
now,
Oh,
for sure.
I mean,
like, Anna, for me, it's like
you're gonna use every second
to like go to bed because so I can switch off for 10 minutes and like not switch off for 10 minutes for like the rest of the evening so that I can reboot.
Right.
But do you know about the human design?
No.
You should try that. I'm curious to see what you are as a human design. Anyways, I'll send you the link.
Please do. What is that?
What is that?
I'll send it to you too because I am a certain. I did the test.
Tell the people what is it?
Okay,
She's gonna send you the link.
I did this several years ago. This human design because I'm very into woo woo. Like that's why I like Bali. I used to be a yoga instructor. This kind of thing. Yeah. I'm very into this stuff. I love this whole holistic thing. You did? Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if I mentioned it before.
I've done my research.
But so I'm very into that whole thing. And several years ago, I did this test human design chart, which I didn't really think much of. But I guess I'm like you, there's certain times maybe I didn't look at it because it was not the right time for me to do it. But recently, we had one guest that was on our podcast, Noor. And she asked me what I was as human design. I said, you know what? Noor Hassan.
Yeah, of course.
I said, you know what? I don't know what I did the test, but I don't know what I am because I didn't really look at it or didn't read about it. I just kind of did the test and didn't really think much of it. And she's like, no, I'm sure she thought I was a manifesting generator. Okay. There are 4 or 5 different ones. Okay. And so when I checked, I'm not what she thought I was at all. And when I read about my human design, I was like, oh my God, this is the missing piece of my puzzle.
No way.
It completely, and that's why in Ramadan I found, I read about it for 2 months. I mean, I love Noor because of that. God bless her. She
changed your, changed your life.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, because of those 2 months I read about it. And then after in Ramadan, I completely switched off. And I feel so much more connected to myself because it's I understood myself more, even though, because sometimes it's I feel very confused about my trajectory or my, it's I feel very like an out of body experience kind of. So anyways, it was brilliant and it's super eye opening. So I recommend anybody who has not done it to do it. And I'll send you the link. Human Design by Jenna Zoe. Anyways, okay, so we would like to go on for much longer. Maybe we should have you on in a second time.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like I love the fact that we spoke about how Flair
started and how you started your
but
career.
I feel there's so much more to me than just Flair.
Yes,
this is one of the things that I was speaking to a friend about lately, and she's like, Ingy, it's not Ingy Flair, because I'm known to be Ingy Flair, but I'm not just Flair,
Yeah, no, I know.
I'm not just PR, I'm not just Flair, I'm so many other things.
But you always get what you do, what you're passionate about, always kind of gets stuck with you. It's near the baker, near the, it's unfortunate.
What's your next thing, you think? Do you think, are you going to stay in PR for a while? Is it still? Are you still in it now? You think you're still? Okay?
I think I'm going to stay in it. I think though that I'm going to shift it in a way that it aligns with who I want to be, because I'm in a phase in my life where who I am and who I want to be are not aligned. I can see who I want to be and I want to get there, and the only way to get there, just different things about myself. I want to be working on projects that I'm much more aligned with. I want to be living a much healthier life. I work 24 hours. I eat terribly. My workout routine is messed up. I don't have kida. My life isn't as structured or
as pulled together
as I'd like it to be. And a lot of it is for others. There's no me. There hasn't been a me for very long, whether on a personal level or on a professional level. I feel because obviously starting a business, you lose you. I mean,
like you said, when you said this dream of being a waitress in Bali, I can understand that, because when you're an entrepreneur and you have your own thing, you never switch off. No, you're always thinking,
ever,
what did I miss, or what should I have done better, or what's next?
Whether you're on a holiday, whether you're on the beach sipping a cocktail, you're on.
Yeah,
you're on.
And that in itself is very stressful. And I think it's a lot of stress for the physical body, the mental, and therefore physically, you just don't feel connected to yourself a little bit.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately. That, I went to Burnout on vacation one time and our accounts got hacked. for ladies. And for like a week, I'm like.
And something like this always shows up, you know. Every time you're having a good moment, something like this shows up, and you're.
So the moment I'm there and I'm getting these messages, I'm like, "What? Why are they bidding on the account? What's going on? Our agency." I'm like, "You guys see this? Oh yes." I'm like, "That's it? Oh yes." I'm like, "We were hacked." They're like, "Yeah, we thought there was something weird going on." I'm like, "Oh my god,
oh wow,
I'm not gonna discuss this." You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna. I'm like, So for 6 days, I literally couldn't switch off.
Yeah.
And it was just a pain in the ass, actually.
Yeah, really, that's having a business for you, you know? I mean, it's so I want to align more with like خلاص يعني I'm also in my late 30s. It's time that I start taking care of myself physically, mentally, emotionally, in so many ways. So spiritually, yes, that's what I was looking for. Actually, I wanted to say solely, like my soul. I was like, that's not a word, and even in Italian, it's not a word. So don't try spiritually.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think I'm gonna be in PR, but in a different form, working with projects that I'm much more maybe involved in, because also as a business owner, you end up doing things that are admin, HR, مش عارفة AA. Like I don't do PR anymore. Like I go into the girls' office and I'm very jealous because they're working on so many creative concepts, and I don't use that anymore. So I want to be more involved on an operational level and remember what I like doing with things that align with me.
Okay, that's great.
Totally agree.
Well, Ingy, thank you for being on, and we'd like to have you on a second time, I hope.
I'd love that.
And we will link all of her accounts. We'll link Ingy's accounts in the show notes.
Yes.
And if you have any questions for Ingy, please drop us a DM. And we'll cover those maybe next time.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
It's been such a pleasure.
Pleasure's all ours.
Okay, that's a wrap. If you're still here, you must have enjoyed yourself, so subscribe and leave a review and share this with the one person who needs to hear it. Find us on Instagram for behind the scenes on what's coming next. See you next time, same place, same chaos.